Hi, I'm Debbie from Simply Special Crafts. Today I wanted to show you a paper pack that we brought in from, it's called My Mind's Eye Lost and Found Christmas, and we're going to do some fun and unusual projects with this. This is one of those products that I liked when I saw it, but when it actually came in and I saw it in person, it was kind of one of those products I couldn't help but ooh and ah over. One of the things I love about this is that it has very tasteful glitter accents on some of the pages. You get a lot of product. You get 54 sheets, 3 each of 18 different designs, and they're really, really beautiful kind of vintage Christmas. Let's take a look. Here's our first pattern. And up here, I don't know if it shows on the camera, this is beautiful, tasteful red glitter. You get 3 of those. You get this wonderful polka dotted pattern, and you'll notice it's kind of a distressed look. Perfect vintage paper. With this stars, with the kind of sepia background and the red swirlies. Am I in camera enough you can see the red swirlies? Okay. Look at this one with the shabby chic red glitter lines. Oh, so pretty. Look here at these. Beautiful. Now this one just has some kind of pen work over here. These aren't glittered. The glitter's actually in the stripes. Kind of a newsprint. Now one of the things you're probably noticing by now, because you guys think like I do, is that there aren't a lot of real specific Christmas patterns. Here's the first of ones that actually really cries out to be Christmas. Beautiful Santa sleigh in the 25th. This wonderful vintage Christmas Santa in the corner. Here's another one. Doesn't have to be Christmas. I think you're guessing what my surprise is going to be one of my projects. Here's another kind of pinstripe that, or I'm not sure if that's pinstripe, but striped pattern with the red glitter accents. That beautiful bird with the red glitter accents. This has red glitter all the way around the frame. You do lots of things with those corners. That'd be beautiful scrapbook paper as well as beautiful card making paper. The kind of ripply stripes are glittered. We've got the brown. Trying to get through this here, so we get on to our projects. Look at these pretty trees. Oh, I love this. These trees make up so pretty. The little stars in kind of variegated burgundy. Here's another one that's kind of more specific Christmas. We've got Merry and Bright with the holly corner treatment. Happy Holidays. Look, you've got 3 really pretty focals on that one page. Once again, beautiful for scrapbooking, also beautiful for card making. The musical notes. And then we've got this other deep burgundy color. Gorgeous paper pack. I just drooled when I saw it, so I had to get my hands on it. Let me show you a little bit of what I did. Let's start out by talking about what else I used in this video besides the paper pack. I used 3 of our die sets, and these are really good universal dies. You're going to like these a lot, and I'm going to have a super bargain on these in the store. The little pine cones with foliage, and you get a total of 6 dies in that package. Little pieces that are easily worked together. I didn't think much of this when I saw it in the package. Wait till you see what we did with it. And these are actually a little larger than what they show on the packaging. Packaging's a little deceiving. So we've got this wonderful layered Christmas tree. It's really quite a lot like the snowy Christmas tree that some of you got before. A little different size and shape, so even if you have that one, this would be a good one because it's going to be really bargain priced. And then we've got this, it's called a wild Christmas flower. It's kind of a poinsettia, but it could be almost anything. It could be a year-round flower. It's got 2 flower layers and 2 bits of greenery, and we've used this extensively. So again, really bargain priced for this project. Here's a few other things. This is next to the Paperpack, this is my absolute favorite product we've used in this video. These are some handmade papers that we bought that I was able to pick up on a Christmas bargain, so they're going to be very attractively priced. And these papers cut like butter in your die cutter. They are so beautiful. Look at the variations of green and that olive color and the navy. We've got that bright, bright fuchsia. We've got this beautiful Christmassy red. There's a couple sheets of that. We've got this dark teal kind of forest color, a couple sheets of that. Kind of this rose red, a couple sheets of that, a couple bright greens. And then you've got some more reddish. These are so gorgeous, and wait till you see how they cut. And this is a must-have item. If you don't buy anything else, think about these, because you're going to love the way these cut in your die cutter. We used a couple of kind of vintagey looking Christmas accents. I used this little brad pack, which is going to be bargain priced. I used these Christmas frames, which were so fun for cards. They'd be great for scrapbooking and putting pictures in as well, but they were great for cards. This is a real find. This little pack from the Sleigh Bells line, this is also from My Mind's Eye, the maker of our Paperpack, has 8 sheets of alpha and word stickers, and you won't believe the price of this one. I used these little all occasion stickers. In a couple cases, we really liked the sticker and we didn't necessarily want the sentiment. We used these little sentiments over the top to get that nice flag. Very, very affordably priced. And I put this here just to remind me to say we have tons of bling available in the store. You'll see lots of bling on our cards. We have something for everybody there, so be sure and take a look at the bling section as well. Let's get to the cards. Let's start with some of the designs that I took right off the paper. You'll remember this Christmas corner off of one of our papers. I mounted it on a piece of green, and then I put it on a leftover piece of Maryboard. I used that little poinsettia Christmas flower die we talked about, with little sprigs off of the pine cone die. And isn't that fabulous? It's so pretty, so super easy. This is a little 5x5 card, but what fun. That one. Here's Santa off the same sheet. And in this case, I took the corner that had Santa, I cut off the word Merry Christmas because it came a long ways out this way, and I added my own lettering, Merry, over the Christmas using a black Merry, or the black alphabet out of the alphabet pack I showed you, just for fun and interest. Even though there was a little bit of red glitter already on here, I glittered all of the little accents on Santa just to kind of bring more attention to him because he was in kind of muted tones. And then I used that wildflower die. Notice how I used 2 different tones in the poinsettia here. I used the darker handmade paper, and I used that bright handmade paper. I did the same thing with the foliage, and I really like this effect of using the 2 different colors of foliage and the 2 different colors. And then I just put some little gold hunky-dory gems in the center. But didn't that turn out cute? And certainly I did not take the time to line these, but certainly I had tons of paper left over. I could have easily lined all these with really nice matching paper out of the book. Here's another one that comes right off the book. In this case, I took a little A2 card. I covered it with my handmade paper. I have to tell you, it actually felt like a sacrifice to give up this much of my handmade paper, not to die cut it, but I wanted it to match my little die cut flower. And again, I'm using that Christmas wildflower. Here's my foliage off the pine cone die. And The only other thing that I've done here to the actual picture is I took a little bit of glitter and glittered some of the accents that were coming down in those Christmas ornaments because, again, they were kind of subdued and I wanted to bring them to the forefront. So by putting a little glitter on that, we were able to do that. I mounted my piece out of my book onto a piece of green, adorable scoreable, put that on my handmade paper on an A2 card. It's quick, it's easy, so pretty. Another page right out of my book, and they didn't do a lot to this. I hope it picks up on camera because we have so many fun things happening in this. You've got Santa in his sleigh coming into this picture over kind of a sunburst coming out of the word Happy Holidays. It's got this beautiful red scroll work glitter coming into the picture, and this little strip they have coming across here is glittered. I thought that this really called for kind of a vintage look, so I took a piece of the burgundy paper out of the book and I cut my leaves, or my holly leaves, out of that dark green handmade paper, put a little glitter in the center to kind of tie it in, and then the only other thing that I did, and you can see it a little bit here, is I added just extra little red accents into the Happy Holiday lettering. Why? Because I needed to. It didn't need it. I needed to do it. Okay. Here's another one that I did, just using 2 of those papers out of our book. I used one of my paper punches. This happens to be a mini 8 punch with snowflakes, and I have or will soon have those available in the store. We're going to do some more projects with that one. But in this vintage theme, I thought that the snowflakes looked kind of fun on that vintage paper. And then I used the snowflakes that cut out with my mini 8 punch. It's not a mini 8 punch, it's a super 8 punch. I used the snowflakes that cut out when I made that design to layer up on the burgundy. Then I just tied a bow. This bow happens to be tied on that, the crepe ribbon from Hot Off the Press, and we have those available in the store. I layered up 2 layers of that handmade paper. This time I made it all in red, and the little sprigs coming out are also in that handmade paper. I used a few brads off of that brad sheet that I showed you just for fun. I love this card. It's so pretty. Here's the corner right out of one of those pages. Now, one of our customers recently asked me about what to do with these doily cards. Here's a perfect example of what to do with the doily card. The doily itself is 6x6, and it's from Hunky Dory. It's already die cut with all of this pattern around the edges. I took a piece of my handmade paper, cut it slightly smaller than the inside piece. So this is, let's see, if this was 6, this is probably set in a good 1/4 of an inch all the way around. So I'm going to say maybe 5.5 by 5.5 for this handmade paper cutout. Then I cut out my bird. I used the lettering cheer off of my letter stickers, tied a nice olive colored bow out of some material that I had here, and a couple of pieces of sprigs off of that little die cut. Didn't that turn out pretty? And there's a perfect use for those doily cards. Okay, next I want to show you a series of cards. Did I show these in the beginning? Yeah, I did. A series of cards that I used. Can I have those frames back in? Using these frames that were also by my mind's eye. The nice thing about these is that the colors match perfectly with the colors in our kit. And you get 6 frames in here. These were great fun for card making. They'd be great for scrapbooking as well, but they were great fun for card making. Let's show you what I did with some of those. Here's our first one. I used that beautiful striped red and green paper with the red glitter accents were already there. All I did was just take a piece of the background paper out of my book, made that wonderful little flower in the center, Once again, using the two colors. I really like that effect of the two colors in that kind of shabby chic Christmas flower. I put it on the Marianne Bright frame, added 3 little rhinestones. It just didn't want anything else. It's just really, really eye-catching, just like that. Next, here's another frame that's out of my frame pack. This one's got these wonderful little reindeers leaping each direction with a tree in the center. I thought, what better thing to put in here than to use the tree paper out of our paper pack. And then I mounted that all on this pretty paper with the burgundy and the red glitter accents. I used a sticker right off of that sticker and lettering sheet. It's a Joyous Noel. And then here's the first example where I've used that little cutting die that layers up. And it comes with a little star. So to match our paper, we made the star in red. But isn't that pretty? You can cut that out. Okay, here's our next one. Look at this beautiful frame. They just don't come any prettier than that. All I did with this frame I mounted this frame on a piece of my burgundy paper out of my book. I backed the frame with a piece of kind of that light sepia tone paper. I built one of those little flowers out of that wildflower, whatever we called that, whatever that's called. Is it called? Wild Christmas flower. Sorry for the delay there while I was looking that up. And then I added a few little rhinestones to the centers just to kind of grab your attention on the frame. Added some little rhinestones to the center. Just knocked one off. I'll glue that back. And then this little Noel came right off my paper pack. I trimmed that out of one of my leftover pieces of paper. Isn't that pretty? Okay, next up, I have a little white frame that's actually going to overlap into another video. I'm going to show you the frames and these craft cards in a second video that really features those. But I used a little supply that I stole from another kit. Anyway, so I've just made this more Christmassy, this white frame, by bringing my foliage out and around. I used my pine cones here in the corner. I used my Christmas wildflower there. I put the little word Santa off my word sheet. And there's that vintage Santa in the center. Didn't that turn out pretty? And next up, I have another card that I've done using a craft card also out of that kit that we'll show separately. And this was the Joy to the World frame out of my frame pack, a little bird off of the corner. And in this case, there's some antlers behind here. I'm not a real fan of antlers and trophies, so I covered that up with a Christmas flower and some foliage to make this a little bit more Christmassy. It's very simple, but I liked it, so I kept it just like that. This one uses that pretty burgundy background paper. I love the variegation in that. And we've just used one of our little frames, put it over a piece of sepia paper right out of the book on one of the scraps that we had. Built that wonderful little tree die again. Isn't that cute? And added our little star, some little gold gems from Hunky Dory, and then the fa la 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 la's right off that sticker sheet. Super simple, so cute. Next, I want to move on to what I called kind of the unexpected use of this paper, because you'll remember I said there's lots and lots of patterns in here that don't necessarily have to be Christmas. So I wanted to demonstrate that to you, and I've been dying to get my hands on these materials since they came in. So we made some some cards, but are not Christmas cards, using this sheet of 3D punch-outs from the Wild Animal collection at Amy Design. We have elephants, rhinos, and I'm not a big fan of snakes, but he was on the sheet, and we made a beautiful card out of him. And snakes. I also used from that Wild Animals collection. I used this mountains in the background die, and two of the cards that I'm going to show you used that. So first up, here's our elephant, using two of those background papers out of the kit, and that wonderful layered 3D mama elephant and the baby. I used the twine that came on my handmade paper pack to tie a kind of a jute bow around there. And in this case, all I've done is run this mountains through my die cutter, and then I ran it through again with my embossing mat to create these dimensional mountains. And I took my Spectrum Noir marker and just touched it lightly to the raised places to get that dimensional mountain in the background. Didn't it turn out beautiful? Oh, I love it. It's one of my favorite cards out of this pack, and it's not a Christmas card. Here's another that I just love. I cut a label out of one of my tattered lace dies. I built up my rhino. I tied a piece of ribbon, 2 knots and a piece of ribbon. Then I ran that ribbon between my card, my base card, and my paper. And I tacked the ribbon down on the ends, so I have a knot here, and the ends are buried under my paper. Tied a little jute bow. And isn't that pretty? You would never guess looking at that. That's Christmas paper. So pretty. And finally, I really, really like the snake. I'm not a fan of snakes, but I really like this snake. I've used my handmade paper in the background, that burgundy color. I did the mountains exactly as I said I did the mountains before. Cut them out, ran them through again with my embossing mat, so I got this wonderful dimension. Touched the tops of those mountains with my Spectrum Noir marker. I made this rock that the snake is laying on by tearing a piece of the handmade paper towards me, so I get the core showing around there. I built up my snake in 3D using my foam squares, and I made 2 strips of ribbon, knotted it up higher, knotted it lower, and before I mounted it onto my A2 card, I ran those around the back and tacked them down so they don't show inside my card. But those are my cards, my 3 cards from the wildlife series, the Wild Animal series from Amy Design. Next, I want to show you some boxes that I made for my mom. My mom loves to give money at Christmas time. She always gets everybody some little thing, but then she gives people gifts of cash at Christmas and other holidays. But she doesn't just want to stick it in an envelope. She likes to actually wrap them. So I made these little boxes for her, and they just turned out so darn cute. We use the adorable scoreboard. If you haven't seen that, take a look at our video. These are so quick and simple to make, but she's going to love having these little boxes. And I made them out of this paper. They don't have to be real heavy. Tape that back down. They don't have to be out of real heavy paper, but you do have to be a little bit careful with your score tool, because with lighter weight paper, since it's built to handle adorable scoreable, it's easy to tear lighter weight paper, but nonetheless you can use these with your adorable scoreboard. So we've got the little Be Merry right off our sticker sheet, my little leftover snowflakes from my Super 8 punch, a little red rhinestone in my glittered paper. This little box is just tied with a piece of ribbon, and isn't that cute? It's going to be adorable. We use the trees on the bottom. This one I just used right off the brad sheet, and it didn't need anything else. I thought it was adorable. I used the text paper and the stripe paper on the top with that little brad through it. My mom is going to love these little mini boxes. When I was making the little mini boxes, Corey said, "Stop everything. We need to make mini cards." And I said, "If you want to show mini cards, Corey, I would be happy to show them for you on the video, but you need to make them." She sat down and went right to work and made little mini cards that would fit right into one of our adorable scoreboard boxes. And look what she came up with. Aren't these cute? A little wildflower in the corner with the striped paper, and she put a little ribbon accent on her edge, made her little envelope. Look at what she's done with this envelope. She took right off the corner of one of those sheets and made herself a little envelope with a diagonal 25 on it. And here's her card. I love this. This is actually my favorite of the cards that she did. She cut this flower out of the red handmade paper and then just mounted the flower right back up on top. She said, what else should I do to it? I said, not a thing. Because it's so cute and so classy with just the gold gems and then the flower offset over where it's been cut out. Just adorable. These would be great little gift enclosures, wouldn't they? Or if you just want to tuck a note in somebody's lunchbox or something, what fun. She made this one in a striped paper, built her little Christmas tree, decorated it with rhinestones, and this is an example of where she used one of those all-occasion flags and changed it to merry and bright by putting a label over the top of the all-occasion label. Isn't that cute? Fits right into her little mini envelope. And all of those fit right in. Now, certainly we could have made our box larger, but for illustration purposes, this is fine. And we made our little box. And wouldn't that just be a fun little hostess gift or something if you're going to somebody's house before the holidays to give them a little box of gift enclosures? What fun, and so easy. This is just made in the corner of that pre-made paper, and then we've got our little handmade paper accents on here. You can see how much I used that handmade paper. I totally loved it. It die cut so well. And this was the idea I was working on when Corey came up with their mini cards. I was thinking it would be fun, a little hostess gift or friend gift, to give a box of handmade tags. So we've got a little Christmas tree, we've got a little wild Christmas flower, another Christmas tree, but I just used little leftover scraps of paper now. Mind you, we barely touched our paper pack with the number of cards that we made, but you could make so many cards from a package, but just for illustration purposes, this was fine. But you could make a nice little assortment of gift tags and give to a friend or a hostess during the holidays. Wouldn't that be a fun little just thinking of you gift? Not to mention using them yourselves. That'd be great also. This has been an assortment of cards and gifts made from the glittered Lost and Found Christmas collection by My Mind's Eye. I'm Debbie from Simply Special Crafts, and we'll see you next time.